C'était vraiment super stylé, hein. Le triomphe du roi. Let's go. Il va y aller. Il va réussir. Il va évoluer.
Following the death of Rodrigue, Dimitri begins to question his desire for revenge. His troubled mind turns to the kingdom capital and how he might end the chaos
Capitale royale, voilà.
once and for all.
Véracité. J'ai tué personne, bien sûr que c'était incroyable.
Rodrigue's death has been difficult to bear. We've lost considerable military strength and resources.
Aucun seigneur.
Unfortunately, with things as they are now, I don't think House Gautier has any resources to spare.
I'm sorry. I really wish we could help. If only House Galatea had anything to give.
C'est pas grave, on y va
If we
solo.
split up the soldiers currently defending the monastery, we should have sufficient numbers to invade the Empire. But even then...
Your Highness, you should be resting. Your wounds are still healing. I am well, I assure you. More importantly, may I have a moment of
C'est
your
bon?
time?
Il va plus barque partout.
I wish to apologize to all of you. I have led
Let's
you
go.
down this dark path with
Oh.
me, and have caused so much suffering along the way. I cannot tell you how sorry I am for my behavior. There is no apology I could offer.
Et là,
that would
Félix,
be
il va faire.
sufficient.
And how do you intend to
Ah
make
bah
up for your
tiens,
father's
je commence à les connaître.
Felix, I realize words alone are not enough to repent.
Je commence à connaître comment il marche ce
Here
jeu.
they are all I have.
I'm not after more empty words. I want you to speak through your actions.
I know that no amount of regret can ever bring back the lives we have lost. I know that well. It is like patching up a tear with a different material. Things can never be as they were. The best I can hope for is to make things whole again. I wish to do the right thing from now on. That is why I have made a decision. I intend to take back the kingdom capital. I wish to save our people, those who I turned my back on for far too long. To follow my heart and do the right thing. That is the only way I can atone for my sins.
Your Highness,
C'est bon. J'ai récupéré Dimitri.
if we can win back Ferdiad, it will give us the advantage in our war against the Empire. As one who has served the royal family for ages, know that your words bring me great joy and pride. That said, I must point out that if we make for Ferdiad, the Emperor's head will slip further out of reach.
C'est pas grave.
Can you live with
Il faut
that?
d'abord reprendre le royaume et taper l'Empire. Je l'ai déjà fait. Je sais. Je connais.
That I will carry with me until death. But my life is my own. It belongs to no one else, and it is high time that I started living for what I believe in. I will no longer allow the voices of the dead to bind me. This is something that I must do. No. Something
Il a un flow
that
légendaire,
I am
putain.
choosing to do. I will accomplish my aim, even if it means risking my life to do so.
Understood, Your Highness. So, any objections?
Aucune.
You are correct. We cannot afford to die in vain by recklessly challenging the Empire.
I'm worried about Lady Rhea. But if this is the choice you've made, I support it.
I am at your command, Your Highness. I will follow you anywhere.
My sword is at your service, Your Highness.
I'll help too. The people in Ferdiad need us.
Fine, I'll help you, in my father's stead. But in return, you must win. You know that, don't you, Dimitri?
Vous savez à qui il me fait penser, Félix?
I do. And I swear on my father's lance that we will prevail.
Then it is decided. It seems this war council has
Est-ce que vous
much
savez à
to
qui il me fait
discuss.
penser, Félix?
Our next stop is Ferdiad, the kingdom capital. For the future of Vargas.
Il me fait penser à Soren. Ah là je veux bien écouter là. Ah.
Sleep evades me, so I thought I'd get in some extra training. I was just about to finish. Perhaps it is the gloomy weather, but I am feeling the sting of wounds that should have healed long ago. The injury I got when that girl stabbed me after the battle at Gronder. Her eyes were
vraiment il y a
filled
2
with
jours.
revenge, just as mine once were.
Bah bien sûr.
I don't know, but I have a guess. Ah, I suppose I haven't told you about that yet.
Dis-moi tout.
I was attacked inside the monastery the other day. It
Ah bon?
caused quite the uproar. The ones who attacked me were some of the youths we taught swordsmanship to once upon a time.
Bah il voulait quoi?
It seems they were raised by a group of thieves we put down 5 years ago. I heard Lady Rhea took custody of them, claiming that the children were innocent. I have taken so many lives, and with each one I face hatred. During the last 5 years especially. My life was not so different from that of a wild beast. And that young girl's brother. At some point I must have... That is why I thought it only natural that someone would retaliate someday. Because I hated, because I stole, and because I killed. But with those children, it's different. We drew our blades with the best of intentions, only to hurt them in the end. I suppose this is yet another thing we will just have to live with. Yes. As one who chose to fight, it is my responsibility to confront this anguish and the true nature of war, until the day my life comes to an end. Thank you. You know, Professor, there's something that I only recently realized. I never knew it could be so comforting to have someone standing by my side.
Your Highness, you still have scars on your back. It does you no good to languish in pain. I will procure some medicine.
No, it is fine. Though they are still deep, these are from 9 years ago. They do not hurt any longer. Besides, it would be a shame if the scars I got from protecting you were to fade. I bear these scars proudly. It makes me think that it was worthwhile that someone like me survived.
To hear you say such things.
You say that I saved you. But do you know that you also saved me that day? If I had been unable to save anyone, I would have been the sole survivor. I would have had no reason to keep living. But I saved someone. Saved you. That and that alone has always been my crutch.
When I stood before those soldiers and their swords that day, I was prepared to die. But then, you suddenly appeared, and you shielded me. I knew then that a savior's hand could reach into even the deepest darkness. I still have not been able to repay that debt.
Have you not heard a word I've said? You have saved me in countless ways. 5 years ago, I did nothing but await my execution within my jail cell. Was it not you that saved me?
That was nothing more than my duty as your vassal.
Listen, perhaps you consider me to be someone special, but I think the same of you. You are irreplaceable, cherished. So stop saying that we cannot be friends. Stop saying such awful things.
Voilà, là je retrouve Dimitri.
Do not look at me that way.
Tu t'en as son retour? Bah non, jusqu'à ce qu'on me le spoil dans le chat. Voilà. Mais non, je ne m'y attendais pas pour le coup. Tout qui pop comme ça, en mode salut mon pote. Je suis en mode ouais. Mais
Will I? Dimitri?
mais sinon voilà, je ne m'y attendais pas. En dehors de ça.
No matter how many hardships I must endure.
I will do all I can to bring about that world as well. To be your friend is what I have always wanted.
Is that so? I
J'avais été de l'aborder hormis en parlant de son annexe.
Glad to hear it.
Oui, non, mais c'est pas toi qui m'as spoil, hein. C'est un autre. Ouais, c'est quelqu'un d'autre, c'est quelqu'un d'autre. D'ailleurs, il vient plus, d'ailleurs. C'est...
And even when you go out in the day, please tell me where you are going and whom you are meeting.
Par contre, là, j'aime bien.
I suppose there is no fixing your overprotectiveness, is there? I suppose I can live with that.
J'aime bien leur dynamique.
You've been spending a lot of time at the training ground, Mercedes. As far as swordsmanship
crédits à la
goes,
fin du jeu.
you're like a whole new person.
Thank you. I have such a great time when you
Ah
teach
bah oui,
me
ça va
that
être si long.
improving comes naturally.
It's all because of your own hard work. Compared to you,
You shouldn't be so disappointed in yourself. You're improving too. You just need to keep at it.
Well, I can hold a needle and thread without breaking
Ah
anything
oui,
now.
la couture. J'avais zappé.
Something.
That's a big step. When we started, you couldn't even hold a pair of scissors without twisting them apart.
Ouais, je vais essayer de... Voilà, hop.
I'm sorry for being such a burden.
You're no bother at all.
Non, j'arrive pas à me mettre bien là. Comme ça.
It reminds me of when I was young and my mother taught
Allez,
me
comme ça.
how to sew.
Comme ça, je suis bien là.
My mother would sit with my brother and me, and we'd all sew together. Ah, I really miss it. Even though I was barely better than you when I started. Did your mother like to sew, Dimitri?
My birth mother? From my father's accounts, she wasn't great at
Mercedes.
it either.
Ouais, ouais, c'est...
Oh, of
C'est elle.
course. I forgot that the Queen of Fargus passed away long ago.
Yes. I don't really remember what she was like. But I remember my stepmother, always sitting by the window sewing away.
I'm sure she would have been happy to teach you if you had asked.
She always looked so lonely when she was sewing. So unreachable. She was kind to me, yes, but when she was like that, it was hard to talk to her. I'm not certain she would have wished to teach me.
I'm so sorry, Dimitri. I didn't mean to bring up such difficult memories.
Don't worry about it. If I don't talk about those things sometimes, I'll risk forgetting them altogether. And that would truly be a shame.
I see.
But now I'm just going on and on about myself. Why don't you tell me more about you?
More about me? Oh, goodness. I
En
don't even
plus,
know what
s'ils
to
sont
say.
longs là.
It's hard to think of something on the spot, isn't it? You could speak of...
Non,
your
pas la
family,
famille.
I suppose.
You want to know more about my family? On that topic,
Ah
I'm
ok, elle va
happy
parler de
to
son église,
oblige.
ok ça va. La
In
vraie...
fact, I'm so glad you asked. It's important to think about your past and share it every now and then. This might take a while, but would you be willing to stay and listen?
Of course. I will listen for as long as you wish.
Ok, c'est bon.
Your Highness, I have one more favor to ask.
Is this about Gustav again? I have plenty more stories about him. But
Oh, c'est bon, elle est à
perhaps it is time for you
plus.
to
Plus parler de moi,
speak with him
parler tout seul.
yourself.
Oh, it's not about Father this time. This time I wanted to ask about you.
About
Encore.
me?
I mean, I heard all about Father last time, but I didn't ask about you.
Ah, well, I'm afraid there is not much of interest for me to tell you.
Oh, it doesn't have to be funny or interesting. That's not why I'm asking. It's just that I thought I already knew you, but I'm not sure I really do. That day when we were reunited at the monastery, I didn't know what to say to you.
Bah en même temps, vu lui
So I
parler un
wanted
peu
to
mal, il te
prepare some of
plantait,
your
donc
favorite I thought maybe if you ate something that you liked, you'd cheer up a little. But when I got to the kitchen, I realized I didn't even know what you like to eat.
I see. Well, it's a little hard to say what my favorite is. I just don't really have any strong feelings about food. That said, you're pretty keen on sweet things, right, Annette?
Yes, that's right. I'm at my happiest when I'm digging into a sweet treat. Oh, did you know there's a famous sweets shop in the capital?
Yes. It often had long lines outside, didn't it? The castle guards often spoke of it.
The sweets were so good.
Je ne peux pas
They
être
cost a
de mauvaise
fortune,
humeur
but
quand il y a
I loved
Annette sur mon
them.
écran, moi je suis désolé.
When Father was still around, we all lived as a family in the capital. Since then, I've had them only a few times. How I'd love to taste them again.
Say, Annette, when this war is over, where will you go? I heard that you were close to Baron Dominic back in the Academy days.
That's right. But that's not where I think I'd like to go when all of this is over. I reconnected with Father, so I'd like to live with my family again, in the capital. Also, if I'm in the capital, I'll be able to see you from time to time, right?
Ah, that settles it then. We'll have to get your father working twice as hard.
Father's at a ripe old age now. I'd appreciate it if you didn't work him too hard.
Oh, of
Elles
course.
sont très similaires.
I will keep that
Mais
in
c'est pas
mind.
les mêmes.
Your Highness, I've come to apologize. I mismanaged my feelings and got carried away. I've been thinking about what might have made you say the things you did. I was so caught up in the moment, and in my own feelings, that I didn't think of what yours might be.
No, I should be the one to apologize. I did not intend to say such things. I lashed out like a child. You were right to rebuke me. I am disgusted by
Ah,
my
je me
own
rappelle, la
inability
dernière
to
fois, c'est
express
terrible.
myself. Will you allow me to explain?
Of course.
At the tragedy of Dusker, I saw countless corpses. Of course, I saw his, too. Glenn's. Ingrid, I doubt you would have been able to see him. They were unable to bring his body back, after all. He must have died an agonizing death, full of pain and regret. That is what I saw on his face.
T'es sûr
In
que...
that wasteland, there were no beautiful, proud deaths that could have been written about in heroic tales. Not one. I do not want you to die a death like that. Not even for the sake of loyalty or duty.
C'est vrai.
A
Oh, Amni
king
disait
must
ça.
at times order his soldiers and knights to fight and die on his behalf. Their lives must be used for the greater good. This is something any good king understands innately. Any king who doesn't allow people to die on his behalf is too soft to rule well.
You leave me little room for argument. Have I disappointed you?
No. I chose to serve you because of how you are. As your knight, I will stand by your side and uphold your soft-hearted ideals.
What has changed, Ingrid? You were so obstinate the other day.
I've realized that I haven't been facing a very important truth. Because of you, I can finally move on. Thank you.
Ok.
Spared again.
So it would seem. I told you that you were extraordinarily lucky.
Sometimes I think that must be true. But why me? Is this the goddess's way of telling me to make something of myself? There are so many others who are much more deserving
Dis donc,
of life.
I often
un
think
peu
the same
dépressif
of
sur les
myself,
bords là, Marianne là?
especially after battles where many lives were lost. But I must go on living. I cannot give in to death so readily. It is my duty to atone for my sins and to pay for the lives I've taken. I suppose that must be why the goddess allows me to live on.
Is there a reason she allows me to live?
Only you can know that. But I believe there is a reason. Marianne, life is difficult.
It is a burden. It feels terrible to continue standing when so many others had to fall.
If that is so, then carry on as you are. There is no need for you to force yourself to smile as your soul bleeds. But please, whatever you do, do not give up on yourself or your precious life.
What do you mean?
If you were to die, I would be devastated.
You never have been easy to read.
Is that so?
Everyone says that I need to cheer up,
Oui.
but you may be the first person to tell me not to. Your life must also be difficult for you to understand my position.
So it is. I often feel I am not strong enough to live it.
I think our difficulties have brought us closer together.
Do you?
Absolutely. Please, Dimitri, promise you'll live through this war and long after. I don't know what I'd do with myself if we lost you.
As long as you are carrying on, I have yet another reason to carry on myself. I promise to the goddess of Fodlan that I will never give you cause to despair.
Why are you out and about so late, Dimitri?
Hello, Flane. I could ask you the same thing.
Me? I was feeling restless and came here to think.
I see. I'm here for the same reason.
How funny. But, are you feeling well? You look fairly pale.
It's nothing. I just have a bit of a headache.
Oh my. Headaches are quite troublesome, are they not? I am sure it will subside soon. Actually,
Ouais, bah
I
oui.
am quite talented when it comes to healing magic. If you will allow me, I will have you feeling better in no time.
That's kind of you, but I'm fine.
But why not? Have I offended you somehow?
This headache is something I've dealt with for a while now. Ever since my family and friends were murdered before my eyes. I must never forget that day. I must never allow their deaths to be forgotten. I feel this headache is a reminder of sorts. Of those I failed to protect. And of their murderers who still roam free.
I see. That would explain your somber demeanor. Still, I do not agree with all you are saying. I feel that if I were your father or any of your dear friends whom you lost, I would want you to let go of me eventually. I would never want someone whom I care deeply for to be pained by the loss of me for eternity. And I doubt they would want that either.
Perhaps. Unfortunately, they have left this world, so I can no longer ask their preference.
We cannot ask them directly, but we can imagine how they might have felt. You know who they were as people. As for me, if I am ever to be but a memory in your future, I want you to remember me in a way that brings you joy. I would want you to smile when you recalled me, to feel warmed by the notion that I cherished your company. I cannot imagine I am the only one who feels this way. Surely, anyone who loved another would wish only for their peace and happiness. I must apologize. I was out of line, clearly. I must get some rest now. Please do not stay up too late yourself.
Good night, Flane. And thank you. Gustav, it has been 8 years since I last called you by that name.
Your Highness, I must deeply apologize for leaving the kingdom without permission.
There is no need to explain, old friend. I can guess at your reasons. The tragedy of Duscur. You felt responsible for that incident and sought respite in the goddess, abandoning your name, rank, and homeland in repentance. Am I right?
I have no excuses to offer. It was all I could think to do.
I always knew you for a pious man, and I figured that if you were to leave, this is where you would end up. You have changed much. Your face does not have the same resolve it once did.
If I may, Your Highness, you have changed as well.
I can't disagree.
It was my duty to protect His Majesty, your father. Naturally, that also included Lady Patricia and yourself as well.
My father and mother are gone. No amount of regret will bring them back.
My dreams are haunted by the thought that, had I arrived at Duscur more swiftly...
You saved my life at Duscur. I have only gratitude for you, no blame to speak of. I wish for you to remain in the kingdom, Gustav, even after this conflict is over. I need your strength to help rebuild the ravaged land that Fargus has become.
Please, I beg your forgiveness, but there is no place left for me in that land.
I see. Though much has changed, your stubbornness remains. I have no desire to trouble you. If you do not wish to return, that is your choice to make. But I do advise you to at least visit the place of your birth, if only for your family's sake.
Yes, Your Highness. Thank you. I appreciate your concern.
Allez Catherine, la dernière.
At it again, are we? It feels like I see you training here every day.
C'est peut-être un truc pré-time skip ça.
I'm ill at ease until I've held a weapon in my grasp.
Peut-être que c'est un pré-time skip ça.
You said the same thing when you were little.
Right you are.
Maybe.
I've been meaning to come and talk to you properly for a while now.
I was about to say the same thing. How long has it been? A decade? More? That was in Ferdiad, as I recall. You were just a little pipsqueak. You really have grown up, haven't you?
I remember those times well. Particularly your first words to me. Look at that young maiden wielding a giant lance. How adorable.
Oh, don't look at me like that. I was thrown off by your haircut, that's all.
It's all water under the bridge. Now, back then I was quite furious about it.
My father did give me a stern reprimand for speaking so rudely to a prince. But then, I never had a chance to apologize. I was always getting into trouble back then, just like the incident in Dusker.
Speaking of, do you ever think about going back to House Karen? Do you, Cassandra?
No, I'm happy with the life I have. No
Dimitri
offense,
format de
Your Highness,
waifu.
but I don't fight for king and country anymore. I fight for Lady Rhea.
It doesn't bother you? Being labeled a criminal?
You're worried about my life as a fugitive from the Holy Kingdom of Fargus. Don't worry about me. I'm here because I want to be. It suits me far better than the life I'd otherwise lead, as a noble lady of the kingdom.
Is that so?
How about you? You've never wanted to roam free? To enjoy life as an ordinary knight, unshackled from all those princely obligations?
I can't say the thought has never crossed my mind. However, I am the son of a king. It's not possible for me to put my own desires before the good of the kingdom.
Nah, you're too serious for your own good. How'd you become such a stiff?
Don't worry, I've been working on that. Stretching is a part of my daily routine.
If you can joke about it, there's hope for you yet.
Bon, je pense que c'était un prêt skip ça.
Dutiful as ever to do.
Ah, le meilleur.
What are you suggesting?
You're always busy delivering messages.
You mean His Highness's orders?
Does he need you to run such trivial errands?
He should not trouble himself over them. I am honored to attend His Highness, and to represent him in all matters. Ever since he saved my life, serving him has given me reason to live.
Reason to live? Huh.
Your relationship to the Archbishop seems similar.
Not quite. I joined the Knights to repay a debt I owed Rhea. The debt's been repaid, so she's nothing more than a former employer.
Then you are not motivated by loyalty.
Not especially. I wouldn't call Rhea my reason to live.
And if a higher-paying employer comes along?
I'd consider it. That's what mercenaries do.
Then yes, we are completely different.
Everyone's different. I'm not trying to criticize your loyalty. I've seen a lot of people like you all over the world. They don't tend to last very long, though. Try not to end up like them.
Thank you for the warning.
Au moins c'était court. Ça c'est fait. Alors.
I have a question for you. Answer quickly before my hand slips and I cut you in half.
Always so ominous. Well, what is it,
Ça, je voulais
Felix?
voir ça.
Sometimes you have an animal's face, contorted with anger and bloodlust. At other times, a man's with a friendly smile. Which is your true face?
Do not waste your breath on questions with such obvious answers. They are both the real me. My father, my friends, Glenn. They all meant a great deal to me. And they were all brutally slaughtered. I alone survived. If I do not shoulder the anguish and regret they must have felt, who will?
So that's how you justify your atrocities.
What do you mean?
I will fulfill my duty to the late king. My old man used to say that over and over like a mantra. How nauseating. No one seems to understand. The dead won't acknowledge your loyalty. They don't care. What a load of bunk it is, pretending to serve a corpse. You're serving your own ego.
You are wrong.
No, I'm not. The dead are dead. The living are living. You have to respect that boundary. If you keep stringing gravestones around your neck, you'll snap.
Even still, I cannot forget them, nor can I let them go.
Then keep those thoughts to yourself. If you're too weak to do that, abandon your throne. Become a gravekeeper.
Felix.
I'm not immune to emotion, you know. Far from it. I haven't gone a day without questioning why my father and brother had to die, while I survived. I'll bear this pain until the day I die, but I refuse to wallow in it. I have more important things to do than blubber for my whole life.
Je suis assez d'accord avec lui en vrai.
You know, Felix, you really are growing more and more like your brother. Always so sarcastic and constantly looking for a fight. But deep inside, more than anyone, you...
What are you getting at?
Oh, it's nothing. But allow me to thank you. Your perspective has opened my eyes.
Not my intention. I couldn't stand the pathetic look on your face, that's all.
I see. If you say so, then we will leave it at that.
Ça marche.
Finally, you score a point against me on the ground. You have improved, Ingrid.
That was nothing more than a fluke. My technique was horribly sloppy that last round.
It does not matter what sort of technique it was. You won. If this had been a real battle, I would be dead. You wielded your lance well, without any hesitation. Has your approach changed?
You may recall when I said I'm now able to move on, because of you.
I remember. What did you mean by it?
That I finally
J'avais pas déjà eu trop de critiques. J'en ai eu moins eu aujourd'hui. J'en ai beaucoup moins eu. J'aurais pu critiquer Raphaël, hein. Et je l'ai pas critiqué.
I had suspected as much, but instead of acknowledging it, I
Donc c'est parfait.
twisted my memory of him to fit an ideal I've been upholding.
I see.
Your Highness, I will not sacrifice my life for anyone, but perhaps instead, I can live my life for someone. I will pledge my life to you.
And how exactly am I meant to interpret that?
However you please, Your Highness.
Oh? Well then. Ingrid, when this is all over, I want you to... to support and defend me. As my knight. I have been thinking of telling you this for a long time. We get along well.
As your knight, yes, of course.
Tiens.
Of course I will. I intended to do so for the sake of the kingdom. Together, Your Highness, you and I. Our first order of business, putting this tragic war to an end.
Yes. And while we're at it, do not die on me, Ingrid. Promise me that.
Yes, Your Highness. I swear it on my lance.
Ok, ça c'est bon, c'est fait.
Good evening, Dimitri. Have you come to pray?
Oui.
Something like that. And you?
Oh yes, that's why I'm here. I love how calm and peaceful the cathedral is this late at night.
It really is.
Coming here on a quiet night always makes me think of those who aren't with us anymore. We've lost so many in this war, too many to count. I hope they all get to live in eternal happiness at the goddess's side. These prayers are all I have to offer.
You are a kind soul, Mercedes.
I think you're kind too, Dimitri. Sometimes to a fault.
Kind? Me? No, not at all. I am just a killer. A disgusting monster.
But why do you kill? For the sake of your loved ones? Those who have passed? Real monsters kill for selfish reasons. They're incapable of expressing sorrow when they kill. So please, don't call yourself a monster.
Mercedes, I am scared. So scared that I will forget their faces. The people who have died. Who I have killed. I cannot let myself forget them. I know that, and yet... Whatever my feelings, it is all the act of a monster.
It's sad, but the truth is that people forget.
savez qui me fait penser Dimitri?
But you'll never be able to revisit it. Living in the present is the best we can do. We owe it to those who can't come back.
À Thorfinn.
If someone had said
Dans
those
Vinland
words
Saga.
to me 5 years ago, I would be a different man today.
What do you want to do now, Dimitri?
Fait penser à lui.
Continue fighting for those who have died? Not as a king, but as my classmate. What do you want to do?
My own dreams. I have never given it
Son
any thought.
regret, etc.
What about you? What do you want, Mercedes?
Ses tourments.
I want to keep sewing and training with you, even after you've become king. I want to be your friend.
But I have no right to stand beside you.
Please, I can't hear any more of this self-deprecation. I just want to be by your side.
Le award.
Is
Ah.
that so much to ask?
Mercedes. I want the same thing. If you allow it, I wish to stay by your side.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who feels that way. Let's spend a little more time here together. Just the two of us.
Oh, hey, Professor. Actually, I ran into that thief while I was shopping just now.
Je me rappelle.
Maybe you don't remember. It's been quite a while. The man who stole the book from that market stall. I saw him on the street with his kid. They were both so grateful. It's a really nice feeling. Yeah, but it did seem like they were still having trouble getting by. I guess what you said to me back then was right. My actions didn't really solve the problem. I can't help everyone, no matter how much I try. If I had the money or power, maybe. But I don't. You know, a long time ago, Leonardo said nearly the same thing to me. I think it was when I tried to look after the horses all on my own. I really messed that up. He said, "You're not quite ready for this yet, but there's no need to rush." I know I can't help very many people right now. But I think doing what I can for those I see in front of me is still worthwhile. I have to believe that, at least. Thanks. That's reassuring to hear. What about you, Professor? Has anything been troubling you lately? I'd be happy to help, as long as it's not looking after horses. You might not want to trust me with that. Hey, don't be that way. There's gotta be something. It doesn't have to be serious. I genuinely enjoy helping people. It's a great feeling making
Ah, et voilà
someone
pourquoi je l'ai un
smile.
peu skip.
So
C'est
if there's
vraiment
anything I can do for you, I want to
le
do
bon
it
gars.
because I care about you.
C'est adorable. Même lui il le dit.
You think so? It's just what anyone would do, really. So what'll it be? How can I help? Of course. I'd be glad to cook with you.
Despite their victory at the Battle of Granda, the Kingdom Army turns around and marches for Ferdiad instead of heading south. To hail the arrival of the Kingdom Army, the people of Ferdiad begin to rebel. No move is made to suppress them. Instead, Cornelia directs her borrowed Imperial troops to prevent Dimitri from reaching the kingdom capital.
On reconquis.
Ferdiad. It has been a lifetime since I was here last. 5 years ago, in fact. On the day before my execution, when Dedu helped me escape from prison, I killed soldiers from my homeland, stole weapons from their corpses, and made my escape soaked in their blood. To think, this is how I would return to the city of my birth, after all that has happened. I do not deserve that. If not for you or Rodrigue, I would still be lost. I am glad to have you at my side. From the bottom of my heart, I am forever grateful. Let's win this, Professor. Let's all make it out alive and celebrate our victory.
Faisons ça.
Your Highness, the path to the castle has been cleared. We are making preparations to advance. Say the word, and we march.
Yes. Let us begin. Everyone, listen well. This battle is for all that the Empire stole from us. It is a fight to reclaim the days of peace we once enjoyed. I give you but 2 commands. Stay alive and follow your heart. That is all I ask. The gates to the kingdom capital are open. Join me. It is time to take back our home.
La guerre.
I thought I would see you again, little princeling. So stubborn. It must run in your family.
Non, c'est une dinguerie par contre.
Cornelia, the city is overrun with insurrection. It seems to be in response to our enemy's arrival. If we do nothing, our army may suffer damages. We should suppress the citizens immediately.
Toujours mais oui.
Let them do as they please.
Mais.
Or are you saying you have enough soldiers to divide our forces? Quite bold of you, with our enemy's most elite soldiers at our doorstep.
But what are you suggesting?
The city is going to be a battlefield anyway. Kill all who oppose us, even if they are members of the general populace. Go on now. You are needed out there.
As you wish. May we find fortune in the battle.
Ah bah oui, connasse survint, bien sûr.
Huh.
Mais.
Convenience the little princeling has turned out to be. And bringing that troublesome person along with him. It would have been much better if he and his sweet little stepsister had been good little children and just killed each other. The preparations are all in place. Time to meet my old master. Ready the Titaness in the streets. Let's give them a welcome to remember.
Casser la gueule, tu connais.
Advance! Smash that traitor Cornelia and reclaim the capital! I will not lose. I swear it by the blood in my veins.
36 x 2, 46 x 2. Non, utilise ta... Utilise donc... Atrocité. Oh, c'est marrant ça. Bah 80.
My, it's been a long time, hasn't it, Your Highness? You've grown awfully
55 en précision. Bah ouais.
How shameless.
Mais vas-y.
I bet it was you who killed my uncle and set me up. Am I right?
Too true. I'd already forgotten about all that loveliness.
I'll kill you, you monster. You will pay for all that you have done.
Atrocité. Ouf, dehors.
So this is as far as I could get.
Pour toi, mon ref. C'est pour toi, c'est pour toi.
I won't stop marching onward.
Bien sûr.
Well, so be it. Still, I'll give you a little gift.
Ouais.
It's over, Cornelia. If you have any last words, now is the time.
Right you are. Very well. I have an old tale that I would like you to hear, if I may.
Dis-moi tout.
About something that happened 10 years ago. Something Patricia said about how she wished to see her real daughter again, no matter who or what she had to sacrifice to do so. And about how I made her wish come true, at the cost of the king's head.
The king's head? You mean Dusker? You monster! You mean to say that my father, everyone,
c'est bien ce qui me semblait.
Stepmother?
That's right. Her family meant everything to her. You certainly know that feeling, do you not?
C'est terrible comment il en parlait, il l'adorait, genre.
Prince, unloved by the only mother he ever knew. How pitiful.
How dare you!
There's nothing left for you now. Nothing but despair.
Aïe, 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 aïe. C'est Annette? Je savais qu'elle allait être Macari. Ouais, d'accord, ok, ouais, d'accord. Putain, il en parlait si bien de sa belle-mère. Putain, en mode, c'était la femme la plus gentille qu'il a jamais connue, etc.
Try as that woman might to spout nonsense to her very last, nothing could change the fact that she was an enemy of the kingdom. She sold out Fargus to the Empire, forcing our people to suffer their tyranny. But all that ends today. No more blood will be needlessly spilled. Now that Cornelia has fallen, we will exert pressure on the nobles who were aligned with her. Perhaps we may yet find a connection to the tragic incident in Duscar. Once we do that, we will finally be able to prove the innocence of its people.
Your Highness. I am certain that would make those of Duscar who lost their lives that day very happy. I am grateful, and I am proud to serve a man such as you.
Come, Your Highness. You still have some responsibilities that must be carried out. Your people have been patiently awaiting your return.
Le retour du roi. Le triomphe du roi.
No. I can't bear to face them after all that I... Professor. Right you are, as ever. I am their king, after all. What is this?
As you can see, the people are rejoicing at the return of their king.
Even though I turned my back on them and fled the kingdom in disgrace.
Even so, the spectacle before you does not lie. We are a kingdom in need of a king.
Une nouvelle classe encore pour lui?
To save the people from their long oppression. Your Highness, it is truly a blessing that you have returned.
Do I really have the right to stand here? Will they accept me as their king? Blood-stained as I am I fit to be king? Yes, you are right again, my friend. I am finally home again. Fargus, how I missed you.
Soirée.
It may be spring, but the nights are quite chilly here in Ferdiad. Still, our celebratory feast shows no sign of stopping. Have you grown weary of the festivities? It's not that I have grown weary, more that I find it difficult to be around everyone at the moment. I have just returned from visiting the graves of my loved ones. It had been a long while since I left Flowers. I was always terribly afraid of going near there, but I could not stay away forever. You have taught me something important, Professor. That too, of course. But what I'm referring to is far more valuable.
Après, je vais ouvrir l'escrime.
How should I put
J'ai
this?
appris le combat à la lance.
Perhaps it is most accurate to say that you taught me how to live. If you and I had not reunited on that fateful day, I am certain I would have died a fruitless death on the battlefield. I would have foolishly challenged a horde of foes, and in doing so, needlessly sacrificed the lives of my friends and myself. But now I have returned to my rightful place. I struggle with what to say when I know well that words are not enough to express my gratitude. You saved me from the darkness and guided me back to the light. Thank you, Professor. With all that I am, I thank you. Revenge was never something I wished for. It was an obligation I felt I had inherited from those who died. I believed my life belonged to those who lost their own in Duscar. But what I now seek is something else entirely. I can say that with confidence. But I digress. For tonight, our only focus should be to bask in our victory. After that, we must prepare for our battle with the Empire. To start, we must absorb the Kingdom Knights taken by the Dukedom into our own forces and reshuffle our troops. The Lords will need to help purge our territory of Imperial forces, and I will use my authority as king to gather forces from various regions. And we'll have to ask the merchants to lend us the funds we require. Oh, and we must request delivery of supplies at once. Just thinking about it all makes my head spin. There is much to do, but it is all critical work if we hope to stand a chance against the Empire.
Non, il n'y a pas de coexistence chez nous. Aucune.
Yes, I am well aware. I believe we have spoken of this before. Everyone has something they simply cannot accept. As for Edelgard, I am certain she will never be able to accept the Church of Seros. I believe that is why she seeks to destroy it. She is looking to revolutionize the world, in her mind, for the better. But even if she manages to birth a new world, it would be at the cost of... I wish to end this war through acceptance, not annihilation. Just as my people accepted me, I wish dearly to accept her. But I fear...
Your Highness, I finally found you.
Ah, I'm sorry for slipping away. Has something happened?
An express messenger just arrived from the leader of the Alliance. Please,
dirigeant
return
de
to the
l'Alliance.
castle at once.
An express messenger? What in the world could Claude be after? I am on my way. Professor, please join me.
Je te joins. Ah putain, non, je veux savoir, mais j'y ai, mais je veux pas. Ah merde. Bon. Aïe. Zut, flûte.